Order, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Ms. Witchy? Mr. McGurven?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Mr. Corman? Roll call, Mr. Mayor, 2 absent.
Okay, I think we have one absent.
One absent.
One absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move we excuse the absent council member.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we excuse Councilmember Corman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, first item on the agenda are several proclamations.
Okay, the first proclamation is a proclamation for the Mayor's Day of Concern for the Hungry. Whereas the City of Renton recognizes adequate nutrition as a basic goal for each citizen, and whereas no child should go to school hungry, no baby should be without feedings needed for mental and physical growth, no elderly person's health should be jeopardized by lack of appropriate foods, and whereas food bank, emergency, and hot meal programs working with the City of Renton, local faith communities, social service agencies, and hundreds of volunteers strive every day in and day out to stem the rising tide of hunger, but still need more help. And whereas when winter approaches and low-income families must stretch their dollars to cover increasing fuel, electricity, and rental costs, leaving even less money for monthly food purchase, an outpouring of community assistance is needed. And whereas the Emergency Feeding Program coordinates an annual food drive, which will be held at grocery stores throughout King County on Saturday, September 15th, 2018, to help support the efforts of their program and the area's food banks in fighting hunger. And whereas the City of Renton has been a steadfast supporter of this vital project and has strived to eradicate hunger in the community, now therefore I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim September 15th, 2018 to be Mayor's Day of Concern for the Hungry in the City of Renton, and strongly urge all citizens to join the Emergency Feeding Program and the Salvation Army Renton Rotary Food Bank in their efforts to nourish those who are hungry. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 10th day of September 2018. And this is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And tonight, we have Belinda Dunbar from the Emergency Feeding Program to accept this proclamation. If you'd like to say a few words at the podium, you're welcome to.
Good evening, Mayor Law, Renton City Council members, thank you all. This proclamation means so much to the Emergency Feeding Program. As you know, and it was already stated that we are continuing to fight our efforts to end hunger. And in the absence of our Executive Director, Glenn Turner, who's at another meeting here, we're just excited and thank you for assisting us in getting this done. I stand here with our outreach development person, Corey Monago. He's new, so he is learning the ins and outs of the program as well. So we just wanted to say thank you for your time and inviting us here.
You bet. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
welcome aboard, Corey.
Appreciate it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next proclamation.
Okay, the next proclamation is for National Recovery Month. Whereas behavioral health is an essential part of health and one's overall wellness, and whereas prevention of mental and substance use disorders is effective, treatment is productive, and people recover in our area and around the nation, and whereas preventing and overcoming mental and substance use disorders is essential to achieving healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally, and whereas we must encourage relatives of friends of people with mental and/or substance use disorders to implement preventative measures, recognize the signs of a problem, and guide those in need to appropriate treatment and recovery support services. And whereas an estimated 400,000 people in King County are affected by these conditions, and whereas to help more people achieve and sustain long-term recovery, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, and the City of Renton invite all residents in Renton to participate in National Recovery Month. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2018 to be National Recovery Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies to support this year's Recovery Month theme, Join the Voices for Recovery, invest in health, home, purpose, and community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 10th day of September 2018, and this is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And I understand Dan Floyd's here this evening to receive this. Dan, are you with Valley Cities?
No, sir, I'm with King County Behavioral Health and Recovery, a partner of Valley Cities.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here. If you can come up. And you're welcome to say a few words. We know that you're busy these days. This is one of the biggest issues impacting this community, so thank you for being here.
Well, I agree, Mayor Law and honorable council members, and I appreciate your advocacy and your support and your leadership for people in recovery. As a person in long-term recovery myself and someone who works closely with other members of our behavioral health community throughout King County, it's incredibly important the amount of stigma that you're helping to reduce and the opportunities you're helping to increase for people in recovery throughout the city of Renton. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for being here. Okay, Megan, we have one more.
Yes, this next proclamation is for Women on the Rise Month. Whereas multi-generational women from all backgrounds and ages need to document and highlight their triumphs and accomplishments, even though they are a marginalized group. And whereas women and young girls benefit when they are prepared for the workforce and provided opportunities, support, mentors, and sponsors. And whereas corporations, schools, and families all benefit from ensuring the roles of women in the workforce. And whereas women and men are actively seeking opportunities to enhance their leadership skills. And whereas the Women on the Rise Conference will be a networking opportunity for women and men to make future successful connections while utilizing newly learned leadership skills. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim September 2018 to be Women on the Rise Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 10th day of September 2018, and this is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Ms. Witchy, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Kayla Hall here to receive this proclamation? Okay, we'll make sure that that gets out. All right, next item is a public hearing, and I know we have a number of people here for the public hearing, so Angie Mathias.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Angie Mathias here to present the public hearing for this proposed Parker annexation. Oh, excuse me. So the annexation process is a long process, and you can see that we are at the place where you're holding a public hearing. The petitioner submitted a 60% petition a little while ago, and it has been certified by King County as having the signatures that, of property owners that represent 60% of the assessed valuation of this annexation area. So the purpose tonight is to hold a public hearing with the proponent to accept, and for you all to decide whether to accept or reject the annexation. If you do accept it, you can accept all or a portion of the area that has been petitioned for annexation. So its location, it's in the East Plateau Community Planning Area, and it actually abuts the urban growth boundary to the north and to the east. It's about 20.5 acres in size. The current uses are single family and vacant. And then you can see the boundaries there. The north boundary is approximately southeast 120th Street. The eastern is a parcel line that is near 156th Avenue Southeast. And the southern boundary is southeast 124th or northeast 6th Street. And then the west is a parcel line that's near 155th Avenue Southeast. Here's an aerial image of the proposed annexation, just to show you that it's already platted. Existing conditions, we always look at the steep slopes and the regulated slopes. This area does not have any regulated slopes or any slopes even in the 15 to 25% range that would be shown as yellow there. We look at streams and wetlands. This area does have a stream, approximately 565 feet of an unnamed stream, which it's a little harder to see up there, but it kind of runs through the annexation here and seems to terminate about this area here. It's classified by the City of Renton on our mapping system as a type NS stream. That means it does not contain fish and it only has seasonal flow. There is a wetland is set aside in a tract here that was done as part of this subdivision that abuts the annexation area also. So currently, the area is already served by Renton Regional Fire Authority. That would not change upon annexation. The utilities, the water district is Water District 90. That would not change upon annexation. And Renton Sewer provides sewer to some of these homes already. And that does not change upon annexation. And it is in the Issaquah School District, which also does not change with annexation. In the county, we look at the county zoning and see what the county has it zoned. They have it designated in their comprehensive plan as available residential medium density for a range between 4 and 12 dwelling units per acre, and they've zoned it with the R4 zone. And actually, this area already has been pre-zoned by the City of Renton, pre-zoned as R4, so if the area does annex to the city, that R4 zoning would become effective at that point in time. So we always look at our comprehensive plan to see what our annexation policies are and whether or not the proposed annexation meets our comprehensive plan policies. One of the goals is to promote annexation where and when it's in our best interest. And policy states that we should support annexation where infrastructure and services allow for urban densities or where it would consolidate service providers or facilitate the efficient delivery of services. And this is an urban area in character, being that's on the inside of the urban growth boundary. And then consider the fiscal impacts, which we will look at in the next few slides. So the Boundary Review Board, if you all choose to accept this annexation, the other piece that we would ask for you to do is to authorize staff to forward a notice of intent to the King County Boundary Review Board. So we want to look at those objectives in advance and see whether or not we think that this is a likely annexation that they would approve. They ask that we use physical boundaries, including but not limited to bodies of water, highway, or land contours. The use of parcel lines is considered to be a physical boundary. They seek to prevent abnormally irregular boundaries. This is a rectangle, so it's pretty regular. It create or preserve logical service areas. The service areas are not changed upon this annexation, so that is not relevant or not a concern. And then the annexation is of an unincorporated area to a city that is urban in character, and Renton is an urban city. So the fiscal analysis, the current conditions are that there are an estimated 44 dwelling units with an estimated 123 residents living in those dwelling units. Future conditions, it's already platted, so there's the capacity for an additional 21 additional dwelling units with an estimated additional 59 additional residents. We always assume that costs increase at 3.3% annually, while revenue increases at 2.5% annually, but that's only limited to sales tax, utility tax, and the franchise fees. So to the operating fund, existing estimated revenues are about $60,000 with costs at about $59,000. But year 10, if new development does occur, then revenues would be estimated to be at about $98,000 and costs at about $95,000. To the capital and enterprise fund, revenues existing are estimated to be about $6,000 with costs at about $3,600. And in year 10, revenues at about $31,000 and costs at about $26,000. We always circulate the annexation to the different departments in the city, and all of those functions have reviewed the proposed annexation and indicated that it represents a logical extension of their services. In conclusion, the annexation is in the best interest and general welfare of the city. It represents a logical extension of our services. It's consistent with our adopted annexation policies, and it appears to be consistent with the Boundary Review Board criteria. And the administration recommends that council accept the 60% direct petition to annex and authorize the administration to forward the notice of intent to the Boundary Review Board.
Thank you very much, Angie. Any questions from council? Yes,
I
Carolyn.
have one. Are there any plans to extend the street from Northeast 6th through the Maureen Highlands into this new annexation?
Not that I'm aware of, but that comment was not specifically made by Transportation.
Okay, thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think those types of things come up after there's a development proposal for the property, so. Any other questions from council? Okay, this is a public hearing. We have a number of people who've signed up to address the council. And some people have signed up on the regular council audience comment sheet. Others are on the public hearing sheet. So what I'm going to recommend is people start lining up on this side. Just if you see 3 or 4 people up there and it starts to get down, then go ahead and get in line. Come on up to the podium. When you get to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record. And you have 5 minutes. Please keep your eye on the lighted timer here. When it gets to yellow, it's going to be, you've got probably less than a minute to wrap up. So those that would like to testify, please start lining up, and first come, first serve. Yes. Come up to the podium.
We have a map with some concerns on it. Is there a place that we can show the map?
I don't know that there's a way to show anything like that. An 8.5 by 11 sheet would be possible, but I don't know how you would do that.
We hold it up?
Did you want, if you have somebody that wants to hold it, but it's, I don't know that people are going to be able to see that. Did you want to testify?
Not yet.
Okay, so please come on up.
I'll come up, I'll start. Hello, my name is Heather Sadar. I live in East Renton Highlands. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Heather Sadar, and I live in the area proposed for annexation in the city of Renton. I have lived on 155th Avenue Southeast for over 16 years. I love the country feel of my street and the freedom of living in unincorporated King County. We enjoy lower taxes and less regulations that would change should we become part of the city of Renton. I would like to share some of the reasons why I ask you to reject the Parker annexation. For one, we didn't ask for this. The proponent of the annexation and other previous attempts is a local realtor who doesn't live on our streets and currently has 9 vacant lots for sale here. Last week I called her to ask about the reasons behind her attempts, and she told me years ago homeowners who wanted to connect to the sewer line being put in were denied, and they asked her for help. I remember when the sewer was put in, and I was offered a chance to hook up but chose not to. The city put in sewer in 2009. This is not the issue for annexation today. She told me the residents on our streets would benefit from the lower rates for the summer camps in Henry Moses Aquatic Center. But I personally send my kids to the Issaquah Parks and Rec for camp, chess club, and Lego club, as many of us shop and do business in Issaquah, and we're in the Issaquah School District. Plus, the higher taxes we would pay to get the discounted rates aren't worth it. I will pay a few extra dollars each time I visit the pool. And if we wanted the benefits of living in the city of Renton, we would have purchased a home there. Other reasons she stated for this annexation back at the June 2011 council meeting was that, quote, it will bring the community together and the area shares characteristics similar to nearby neighborhoods. But that is not true. Maureen Highlands is the nearby neighborhood, and those homes were all built in the early 2000s. They're zoned R5. They have similar architecture and square footage with a homeowners association governing them. We all have quarter-acre lots with small homes built in the 1960s all the way up to large, newly built homes in 2018. We don't need this annexation to, quote, bring us together. One of my biggest fears is that those vacant lots for sale could be rezoned R5 or more and change the density of our neighborhood, increasing traffic and risking the safety of our families and pets and reducing our quality of life. Council members, I also ask, why was the annexation nearly cut in half for this attempt? Is it because there weren't enough votes for the entire street to be approved, or because the area targeted has those vacant lots for sale? So if this goes through, when you drive down our street, the first 4 blocks will be county addresses and the last 4 will be city ones. It just doesn't make sense. Which brings me to another concern, and that is changing our addresses. I have 16 years of friends, family, and business correspondence that I would have to notify of that change. And despite every effort by the U.S. Postal Service to get all mail delivered, there will be mail that is returned to sender as no such number for those old county addresses. The address problem also may affect the other delivery services that many people now depend upon. And lastly, every year, most families on our street celebrate our freedom and this great country by enjoying fireworks, friends, and barbecues. The city ban on fireworks would end our personal family tradition of celebrating all day long, relaxing, and watching our own fireworks show. We are always safe, and our street is known for a great display. So to conclude, this annexation is not about getting sewers into homes, that's done. It's not about bringing the neighbors together or discounted rates to Henry Moses. I see it as a reason to go after those vacant lots our streets have. Thank you for your time tonight and letting me be heard. I was never asked if I wanted to sign the petition for the annexation, despite the proponent stating that she doorbelled the neighborhood. My vote is no to annexation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, my name's Shamron Austin. I live in Renton Highlands in the same area that's been identified as being proposed to be annexed. I've lived in my home for 19 years. I've raised 4 children out of there. I have 2 left in the house. And I cannot reiterate what she said. I mean, I just second everything that she said about how that end of the street, how we're not a part of the city, how we have fireworks, we're all part of a family. Everybody just knows everybody up and down that street. And I'm really surprised because this is the first thing I heard about this when I got this letter in the mail. Nobody came to my door. And, you know, nobody came to my door. I've never heard anything about this. And like I said, I've lived there for 18 years, just like most people there have lived there for many years. I talked to all my neighbors. I know my neighbors. We're very concerned about this the last time the annexation came up. I think they would tell me. Nobody's even brought any word about it. Nobody heard anything. We just all started panicking as soon as we got the letters in the mail on the same day that I got my new tax, notification that my taxes are going up. So that's all I want to say. I just want to second what she says.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Rick Dixon. I've been in the neighborhood since 1982. I live in Renton, 15630, if that makes any difference. It seems like annexations, generally, the purpose of them is to bring services into an area that they don't have. White Fence Ranch has about every service that you could need, so it's not like we're looking for anything there. This annexation basically only benefits a few people and the person that's the proponent. It could have been done in a more open and honest way, which would have made me feel better. Most of the people at White Fence Ranch weren't even notified. Anybody south of Southeast 124th Street did not receive any notification that there was even an annexation going on. I know there was postings, but all the postings, there were 6 of them. They were on 155th and 156 Southeast, and they went from Southeast 124th Street down to Southeast 20th. 155th and 156 where the postings were dead-end streets. So anyone that was south of Southeast 124th would not have seen those signs because there's no egress from the north side. The postings in White Fence Ranch, for me, I'm not as concerned whether it's in the city or in the county. My concern is that all of White Fence Ranch should either be all city or all county. I think there's going to be problems with the services that are going to come into the area if it's one or the other. I know that the city posting showed that the sewers and so forth were all going to remain the same, but there's the police protection, road services, and I'm sure there's a lot of other items that are going to be confused from the county to the city. This community is all one street from 128th down to 120th, and I'm not sure why we got into a situation other than to benefit a few people that we would divide the community into 2 pieces. So I'm thinking that everybody at White Fence Ranch should be involved in decision-making, and I think that dividing community into 2 pieces is just a bad decision.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Ginger Dixon. I have a little bit of trouble with my throat because I had some cancer surgery, but I soldier on and yell anyway. Rick is my husband. He's going to be my map holder, just briefly, so you all kind of can see what's going on here too.
I'm sorry, Ginger, you'll need to be at the microphone so we can hear. Oh, here we have a mic. Go ahead. We have a microphone here we can give you.
Oh, I don't know if I can hold the microphone and do all this, but
I feel like a rock star. Okay, so this map is a little bigger and a little different than the one that came in the mail. This is the proposed annexation area, 156, 155th, 124th, 128th, otherwise locally known as Cemetery Road. 128th is a 4-lane highway. These roads are dead end down here. There is no southeast 120th or northeast 8th. There's none proposed. There is no way out of our neighborhood except to come right out onto a 4-lane highway. 124th on the maps, for all of you that got the maps that look like 124th goes through to Maureen Highlands, it does not. There is a 10-foot ditch there full of water. The water problems there are well known, and I doubt that there'll ever be a road through there because Maureen Highlands is dead set against it. So we are trapped in there. If you add all these houses in there, Renton is going to need to address the traffic problems with lights and road problems and the water problems. Whatever is said about there's no wetlands, I can guarantee you there are wetlands. You can go today, even after the big drought, and several of these lots are still underwater. So this needs to be dealt with. I am neither for nor against this annexation. I'm for more information, slow this down, and let's talk about all the problems that we've had in this neighborhood since I've lived here in the 80s. These roads, just for the purposes of clarity and no secrecy on my part, and that's something else, we all really resent the secrecy of half of the neighborhood being disallowed information about this till the last minute. It's not your fault. It is the proponent's fault. We have been left out of this. This is the third time this has been proposed. The proponent knows full well that a lot of us have mixed feelings about annexation or not. It's nothing personal. We just need more information. And to cut the neighborhood in half, we are a tight-knit neighborhood. We've got a lot of children. We've got a lot of retired people. We all take care of each other. This was a crappy thing to do. Hold on. Open that back up for a minute. So just so you know where we are, this pink is us. 124th is right here. The dividing line goes down the middle of our road. We had a major fire 2.5 years ago. It's a dead-end road, 124th is. The fire department couldn't find us because they didn't know if we were Northeast 6th or 124th. It was almost beyond a tragedy. Had the same problem when we've had to call an aid car. How is Renton going to deal with the problem of the back half, the north half of this place is going to be Renton. The front half is going to be King County. What about somebody on the corner of 124th and 156, right in the middle, has a heart attack? Who's going to show up? Who's going to know what the address is? Is it 124th and 156th? Is it Northeast 6th? Is it Northeast 8th? We don't know these things. This is not, gee, we hate Renton, we don't want to be there. Gee, we hate King County, we don't want to be there. One person and a few vacant lot landowners that do not live in the area are the proponents for this. Good for them if they want to make money and build houses, but we've got lots of problems in this neighborhood to address if this happens. Progress happens. We need to know for sure that our traffic problem, our road problem, and our services are going to be taken care of correctly, especially fire, water, sewer, all the things that go along, and most especially police force. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Next person, come on up.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Parker, and I live in the area that's being proposed to be annexed. I've lived there for 30 years, raised my child, and watched many other generations of children be raised in that neighborhood. I agree with everything that the other people have said. We were never asked, I didn't know anything about this till I saw one little sign up on a telephone post, so I take great offense to that. The person that has been proposing this has tried this before, and that person knows that she's met with a lot of objections to what she's proposing. So I just don't understand. I know some people have said they don't care if it's half city and half unincorporated. That doesn't really make sense to me for the reasons that Ginger just said. You know, we wouldn't know who who's going to service this, who's going to service that. So basically, I'm just standing up here to say that, one, I think it's really sad that our neighborhood, that is such a close-knit neighborhood, has this proposal given, and that nobody came to my door. I'm retired. I'm home all the time. Now, I know the person that's proposing this, I have told her not to come to my door before because she put a lot of fear in people a few years ago by telling falsehoods. So basically, I'm just here to say I do not support this annexation, and I think that what Ginger just said, we need to slow down if it's going to happen. I don't understand R4 and R5 and all that kind of stuff. I just know that we're a wonderful neighborhood, and we don't want to see this happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Next.
Kevin Strunk, unincorporated King County. I don't know how long all of you guys have been here. I don't live in Renton, so I don't know any of you guys. But when they put the sewer through, we had many, many meetings where as a community we told them over and over and over again that we did not want it. And when it came to voting and counting all that stuff, it was basically, it came down to the point where, never mind, don't worry about it, we've got a different avenue. You're not gonna have to pay for it unless you sell your house. So they run through and they put in the sewer system. So now King County gets a free road and we all get liens on our houses. And somehow in that, it's been said that everybody that's been connected no longer gets a vote. If they connect, they're an automatic yes vote. So my question is, what is the legality of some people that purchased a house since the sewer came in? And is there a statement on the deed that said you're automatically a vote for annexation when you purchased it? Is that there? Because if, what's that? Because if it's there, then okay, they signed off on it. But if that is what's being used to count the 60%, which I'm guessing it has to be, because I haven't talked to a single person that wants this. Not a single one. So we got railroaded on a sewer project, and now we're stuck because we'll shrink this down till we got just enough so that your vote doesn't matter. And I ask you guys, Mayor and Council, do you really want a bunch of disgruntled people that don't want to be part of Renton in Renton? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brother D. Stewart, I didn't sign that thing, but road deal was brought up. The roads are publicly owned, right? Because the city in the shadow, and they would take over, Rent would take over the maintenance of that part of the road, right?
I don't know which road you're talking about, but I believe so.
Well, just to clarify on that, it's not a private road, and somebody was saying on that other, and as for this, yeah, okay. Well, I got in an annexation thing up in Stanwood, so I know and you gotta do it in a square. If you got that 60%, I think it's a done deal. But anyway, Renton is now, the ambulance is in the fire is Renton.
No, it's all the same. Just so anybody who thinks you're going to be served by a different fire department, you're served by the same fire department, the same firehouse, the same guys that have been responding for all these years are the same ones that will continue to service it.
The only thing that'd be different is they'd be served by Renton Police, and the others would still be King County.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
You
That's what I
bet,
wanted
thank
to know.
you.
Hello, my name is Dolores Shines, and I live on 156th in Renton. And I have, I'm unincorporated King County, but it says Renton. And I have been living there for the past 18 years. And I, also known as the dog lady, because I walk my dog on a daily basis. And on that one street there that they say there is a road, there really isn't a road. And there is a huge ditch there, and it does flood out. And so there was a bridge built by one of our neighbors. We loved it until somebody drove over it with their car and then destroyed it. And now we're crawling over the ditch on a daily basis. One of the things that I have noticed that we have these new beautiful houses, which is great, and more neighbors, that people do not pay attention to the speed limit, and that is a concern. We have children that really hang out in the 124th, 156th area, a lot of little kids. It's a beautiful thing to see. My dog and I walk by and we say hello to them all the time, but it's nerve-wracking when you see people flying down that road. And I'm concerned about the amount of traffic that would be coming through there. And those little kids, we're talking, you know, their parents are by, but kids are quick, right? Another concern that I have is there any way to find out who signed up on that 60% petition? I never had anyone come to my door. Is this something that you go down to Walmart and ask people? They're not bought into our neighborhood. So I just want to know, where does this come from? I think it's a fair question, because if these people are our neighbors, then that's one thing. But if they don't know us, they don't walk the neighborhood, they don't pick berries with us, they don't watch the deer come through, they don't listen to the coyotes, they don't know my dog Max, I don't think they're our neighbors. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Angie, are we able to answer any questions in regards to the validity of 60%, the 60%?
Sure. So the 60% direct petition method is a method of annexation. It's probably the most commonly used method of annexation in the state. And it's a method where that 60% means that you need to have whatever the assessed valuation is of the properties within that annexation area. You have to have property owners that represent 60% of the assessed value of that area sign the petition. So it's property owners within the annexation area that have signed that petition, and the county has certified that as being a valid petition.
It's been certified by King County, and is that available to the public?
That is available to the public. It is on Laserfiche, so it's on our website. So we can, if anyone writes the clerk's office, we can provide them access to
Okay,
that.
so those that have questions about who signed on for that, you're able to get it through the city clerk's office.
Have you verified those signatures?
Can you go ahead and give your name for the?
I'm Andrew Campbell. I
Okay.
live within the annex area.
Okay.
I've only been a resident for, just about 5 years. But we bought a house that was already connected to the sewer. And my concern is that I don't get a vote, right? We said a Pledge of Allegiance, and there's no justice for me if I don't get a vote on this. I understand, right? Eventually, we probably will be part of the city. But just because I'm hooked to the sewer doesn't mean I want to be part of the city. I'm appreciative that there's a service and I don't have to deal with septic and the issues that septic can provide or can have, but I still should get a vote. And just because someone built a house and connected it to the sewer and there's no notification on the deed, on the title, on any of the home purchasing process to tell me that I'm going to be in the city eventually, because there's no way to avoid it. We have people here who have built houses and who are not allowed to put a septic system in because there's a sewer available. But they're also not allowed to have a vote to vote no against this proposal. So because they can't vote no and they can't put a septic system in, they can't build a house. They can't realize their dream of owning a property and having a home in our community.
Angie, is there any way for us, I've never heard of a predetermined vote on just because you're hooked up to a sewer.
So that is a thing. It's called a covenant to annex, and
Okay.
it says that if an annexation is proposed, you won't oppose the annexation.
Well, I'm opposing.
And is that a part of?
It runs with the property.
It's part of what they accept.
Is it
when
on
they
my title?
I don't know. I
Is it
haven't
on
seen
any of the land agreements, any of the property?
It's a recorded document with King County, but I don't know if it's on, if it is part of your title. I don't know that answer.
It should be.
Is that something we can check into?
Sure.
Okay.
It should be. And the bigger problem is that someone who's buying a house there or buying property and wants to build doesn't have a choice. Their option is zero option. You either attach to the sewer and vote yes, or don't buy the property and don't build. That's not fair. In the end, everyone is going to be part of the city. So why are we even here, right? If the law prevents them, or the process by the city is preventing from people from building and choosing to not use the sewer, if it's preventing them, then why are we here? This is ridiculous. And I think everyone over here would agree. Anyone, even if you're a proponent of the annexation, should see that that's not right in any way whatsoever. I know that eventually we will probably be part of the city, but I want to vote. And I don't feel like I'm getting a chance.
Angie, I have one more question. Is there a way for us to determine how many people are similar to this gentleman's case where he, it's part of the deed, but he wasn't aware of it, in terms of getting to the 60%?
I don't know if, we could probably send in a letter or something making that inquiry. There are a number of properties within this annexation area that have covenants on them, though. I do know that for sure.
Okay. All right, all right.
Can we also figure out when was this vote? When were these petitions signed? And the 60% valuation?
We do have that.
I would like to know when.
That is on the
when did
petition
that
document.
happen?
It is on the petition document that's online that you can get through.
Was it
the
recent? Because that was 2011.
I can state, I was looking at it earlier, some of them were in 2018 and some of them were in 2014 that I could see.
Do all of the people who signed that petition still live there? Because that's another issue, right? You've got people who have moved in, right? And those people don't live there anymore, right? There's been quite a bit of turnover there and quite a bit of property change. So the other problem I have is that I still have time. How many votes do the people who don't live there get? So I understand property owners, right? Property ownership, but those people who own property and don't have residents there, sure they have a vested financial interest. They don't need any of these services. They're not leveraging the services. They're not leveraging any of the services that the city would provide or that even the county provides because they don't live there. There's no residency. So what's their vote versus our vote, right? And because if it's the same vote, I'd weigh that and say that's not fair either. Residency should take priority. And if the residents don't want this, the residents should get priority. There should be some balance in that vote.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else wanted to testify? Okay, come on up and stand up here. No, go ahead. Excuse me, Angie, before this gentleman speaks, if the council wanted to gather a little more information, there's no time crunch for going to the boundary review board?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jerry Donis, and I'm unincorporated King County. We own the property just north of the proposed development. And all I want to do is put on record that area down on 156 and southeast 120th is a very wet area. I see they didn't show anything about being a winter stream there, but it does run up 120th and it pools in the last lot there on 155th. My family has been on that property since 1927, and I've lived there personally for the last 38 years, so I know this actually happens. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Yeah, please come on up. Go ahead and line up if you'd like to testify.
Again, Evelyn Parker, and I live on 155th Avenue Southeast.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had testified before. I don't think there's going to be an objection, but that's not.
Okay, all I wanted to ask is, I think you can clearly see we're emotional about this. We really care. Is there any way that we can get a vote to us that live in this neighborhood that's being proposed, that this proposal is for?
Well, I can't answer your question. It's gone through a process already. I think there's a chance the council may decide to deliberate a little bit more on the process. It's gone through a process that's been ratified by King County. It's not by the city of Renton, but Angie's just said that we could take time to explore some of these things.
Okay, because it seems to have been done in a way that the people who it directly affects weren't made aware. And something just something reads really wrong with that. And I think if you really, Mayor, took some time to research this and talk to some of us that live there, you would find out that this is really just benefiting one person.
Okay,
And
thank you.
so duly noted.
Anybody else want to testify?
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for hearing me this evening. Wow, rough crowd. I happen to be the proponent of it. I passed out packets a few minutes ago for you guys to see where we've come from. This is a 10-year project in the progress. So in 2008, there was a discussion that was brought in. There were several homeowners in the community that had failing septic systems. The city coming to them, asking them if there was anything we could do, because we were directed by King County, said that if you bring in sewer to the homes, they don't have to hook up on a special assessment district. One of your projects fell through, and I received a call from Dave Christensen and said, a project fell through, this is very uncommon, but we're gonna do a special assessment district, which means that people who live in White Fence Ranch do not have to hook their sewer up if it's not failing by the public health department. The sewer was brought in by a builder named Joe Pruce. He built brand new homes in there, and he did not allow for latecomers, and he capped it off. So the homeowners who wanted to actually participate and be able to hook up to sewer because their septics were failing did not have that opportunity. I was approached by community members who were wanting to put their homes and build in there, but they couldn't because the sewer brought in by Joe Pruce was within 200 feet, and so they were not allowed to do a septic. So they said, is there any way that you can help and assist and be a liaison for White Fence Ranch with the city and be able to have those resources and assist? So at that time I was a baby broker, and I said, sure. My personality says, hey, let's help people out, and so I did. So for the last 10 years,
Okay, I'd really appreciate it if everyone would respect her ability to speak here. I mean,
thank you. So for the last 10 years, people have been building new homes. It's a multi-generational community that was subdivided back in the 1940s and 50s. People have built between 1940s and all the way up until this year. They've gotten homes built. Some of them have already selected to go on to sewer. That's how you got the petition of the 60%, is because when they chose to hook up to sewer, instead of having to replace their septic, they signed a covenant that said that they would annex into the city of Renton. There are many things that I think are misconstrued. Several people who spoke aren't in the annexation portion that we're dealing with right now. When we were first dealing with the annexation, it was for the entire part of White Fence Ranch. What happened is because of time constraints that King County puts on it to certify the signatures and be able to have them certified and passed, the time frames were so strenuous and the community was so large. I sat down with Angie Mathias and Chip and talked with them about, is there a way that we can separate it? And so, as you can see, there's an obvious separation of two portions of White Fence Ranch. It was discussed at that point that we would work with the northern portion of White Fence Ranch and then the southern portion of White Fence Ranch, because there were people who wanted to annex in the second portion of it. There are many questions that have been asked. The school district won't change. If they read the annexation brochure, it specifically states in here that for the majority of the annexations, because it was an inconvenience to community members and all of the annexations that have been going on, that they decided, you as a council and the planning for development had, I know I'm being yellow lighted, sorry, had said that the addresses will not change. And I'm pretty certain that these addresses won't change. So that disfuncts that. The school district doesn't change. The taxes actually do. So I gave you a, where's that little thing? Is that thing I can put up?
You've got about probably 30 seconds left, so.
Yep, well, I've got copies of it. So the people who live in there actually pay 25 to 30% more to be able to use the city's services. And there is a 10-year plan made out by King County that says, it's called the Comprehensive and Sub-Area Plat Restructuring, because King County does not have the services nor the money to be able to facilitate unincorporated communities that actually are already subdivided and been there for a long period of time. So this area is actually on that to be added into the city of Renton. This is just preempting that. There was no secrecy. Everybody received letters over the last 10 years. I door knocked on every single home. There are a couple people in this gallery that
I'm sorry,
also.
again, I've
That's
restricted
fine.
everybody to 5 minutes, so.
Yep, that's fine. So I didn't do anything sneakily, illegal. Everybody's been abreast of it, and several people spoke, and they're not even in the community area.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody left their notebook up here.
What's the wish of the council?
I'm sorry, there was correspondence on this?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I know.
I
that
forgot to
doesn't usually
ask
happen.
you.
So the clerk's office did receive several emails from residents expressing opposition to the proposed annexation. Copies of that correspondence have been filed with the clerk's office and are located in our digital records library, which I will hyperlink on the minutes that council approves at the next council meeting. So if people would like to get a link to that file that includes the petitioner's information, they can do that by going on our website and accessing the next week's council meeting, which will be published on Thursday. So you can find a link there at that time.
Okay, great, thanks, Megan. I'm assuming you wanted to testify? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Andre. I just live down south.
Can you give us your full name?
Andre Kozak.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I built a few homes down south of what is trying to get annexed right now, but like 2016, I did one house on 156th Street, one house on 156, where I'm living now. And I was really like disappointed when they made me sign that paper saying, oh, you're not gonna vote against it, you know, because originally I'm from Ukraine, and I told that lady in Public Works that works there, I was like, this would only be done in somewhere in Russia or Ukraine, where they would make you sign this paper in order to connect to sewer. I'm sorry, I mean, I don't want to offend nobody, but it was like, and I argued with her really bad, you know, on my first lot, but I bought 2 lots at the same time. I knew how much the sewer connection fee was, but I wasn't expecting the signature, and I couldn't back up because I already paid like almost, you know, $200,000 a piece. So I had to move on, and I was like, man, I gotta sign this, but because no way I cannot get septic, I have to connect to sewer, and the only way to connect it is to sign it. You're not gonna, if that's how they got their 60%, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not against renting because I build homes, you know, allow renting. So I'm all over the place, but, you know, that's the way it, I was really disappointed when they made me do that. And second question, are like car tabs gonna go up if we're gonna go into renting? Like, you know, our car tabs and everything, you know?
No.
No, it's gonna be because I know Renton has different price on car tabs, isn't it, than what we pay now, and property tax and
Well,
all.
I guess I shouldn't say that because I'm not sure where that cuts off. I thought it was at the urban growth line, but I'm not really positive about the car tabs.
Yeah.
No.
All
Okay.
right, and property tax is not gonna, you know, all that information we need to know too, like, all right, thank you.
Thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. McIrvin.
I think we have a lot of information to digest, a few more questions probably to have answered before we make a final decision on this. If we can, I'd like to move.
I think we need to close the public hearing.
So I was gonna say, would we be able to close the public hearing in a way that we could continue to accept written correspondence, but close?
I think what you can do is not take action on accepting the annexation tonight and refer it
Okay.
back to.
I just didn't know if we
the
needed to
council.
actually close the public hearing, or if we would just continue it to the next meeting and technically leave it open.
Recommend that you keep the public hearing open for the purpose of receiving written comment, and you could impose a deadline by which comment should be received.
Okay. So with that, yeah, I would like to make a motion to, make sure I heard you right, continue the public hearing until our next council meeting, and obviously we would, the deadline would be directly prior to that meeting as far as correspondence.
Can you specify a time, please?
Ooh.
6:15.
Well, I would want a little bit of time to review it, so let's say 5 o'clock on Monday.
Second.
Okay, it's been, I'll try this. It's been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Ms. Witchy, that we continue the public hearing until next Monday at 5 o'clock to receive written correspondence and to do some more research. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You guys have it. Okay. Angie?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank everybody for coming here tonight. We appreciate your comments, and we'll certainly let you know how this is going to progress.
Should I specify real quick that if they would like to submit public comment, that they can do so by writing the city clerk's office at cityclerk@rentonwa.gov.
That's great. And
Mr.
you can
Mayor?
also receive some of the other information you were asking in terms of who signed the petition and things of that nature.
So you can also email that email for that information.
Provide the website, 'cause
Next Monday.
It'll be Monday, 7 o'clock here.
Sorry, I guess, yeah, I should specify the date.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Angie.
The 17th.
Okay. Next item is administrative report, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I just have 2 items this evening. The first item is Solid Waste Utility will hold its annual Fall Recycling Day on Saturday, September 15th at Renton Technical College from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This one-day event gives residents an opportunity to recycle materials at one convenient place. Just a few examples of materials that are accepted include bricks, scrap metal, appliances, old tires, and motor oil, used oil filters, antifreeze, auto batteries, those types of things. The second item is that the third annual Renton Multicultural Festival will take place on September 14th and 15th and promises to be 2 days of fun entertainment. Admission to this family-friendly event is free, and the festival opens on Friday, September 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Carco Theater, followed up on Saturday, September 15th. It moves downtown to the Renton Pavilion Event Center in Piazza Park from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harrison. Next is audience comments. We do have a couple people signed up for regular audience comments. When I call your name, come up to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record. You have 5 minutes, and first is Jane Rollins.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Jean Rollins, Renton, Washington. This is regarding something completely different. It's regarding DeLeo Wall and Trails. On April 27th, the City of Newcastle sent a strong, well-documented letter to the Department of Natural Resources, DNR for short, expressing legitimate concerns of a logging application directly above May Creek. Residents greatly appreciate the city's very swift input to DNR. On May 18th, despite 232 correspondences and a couple from the county and other cities, DNR approved the application for the properties which encompass DeLeo Wall and Trails. On May 21st, a few days later, the City of Newcastle appealed the DNR decision to what's called Pollution Control Hearings Board, mainly arguing the application should be a Class 4, which would put it into SEPA review, and higher threshold of critical areas, mainly May Creek watershed, and citing Washington administrative codes which were not adhered to. I am providing the city with public disclosure discs from DNR
and a guide to navigate to some technical reports that DNR had to generate, mostly geo reports, and Newcastle's appeal, which I'll give to the deputy city clerk when I leave. Since April, a residents-led group, Save DeLeo Wall, has provided outreach of the negative impacts clear-cutting could have on the May Creek Basin, wildlife corridors, and surrounding trail systems, including the City of Renton's trails. Behind the scenes, the Save DeLeo Wall group provided well-written, not by me, presentations to nonprofits with the ultimate goal of a public-private partnership to purchase the property for open space. These efforts, coupled with strong, very passionate, and public and advocacy groups' support, led to the involvement of Forterra. Forterra, a nonprofit formerly Cascade Land Conservatory, is Washington's largest nonprofit land conservation organization. Forterra began negotiating with the owner to reach a purchase agreement. A partnership for purchase has broad, extremely passionate community support, including financial, and the support of local governments and advocacy groups. As the situation progresses, Save DeLeo Wall campaign, and they have a website, will keep the city and our residents informed. Thank you very much.
You bet, thank you. Next is Howard McComber.
I'm Howard McComber, City of Renton. I'm going to try to make this brief. This meeting's lasted a long time. We had a very wonderful community service day on Saturday. Want to compliment the city. The city gave us tremendous support. We had staff members all over the place working as hard as they could with all the volunteers. The mayor was there helping us, and it was just a very positive thing. We had some scoundrels in 2001, 9/11, who murdered a lot of innocent people in 2 buildings with airplanes. We could have chosen various ways of responding to that. City of Renton's method is that we return good and help to each other and show greater love and peace as our response. And so we go out as a community and we clean up yards, and we had a whole crew, I think 65 people down at Hazen High School helping to clean up the area. And by doing this sort of thing, it gives us a chance to say, in our community, we try to help each other, and we believe in a positive reaction wherever we can. And I realize I'm talking to the choir, but we appreciate that. Now for the advertisement. We have a gala that's going to come up on October the 18th for REACH. And REACH is a charitable organization, purely charitable. And we have the Center of Hope downstairs. We have, we feed the hungry on the weekend, and of course we support others. And then we have over at Harambe, we have a special shelter for people with children, so children don't have to sleep in cars or under the bridge in Renton. So we have several things in Renton which no one else has yet. We hope that they will catch on and be with us, and we're trying to get others to come on and support with us. But we are having this gala on the 18th, so if you'd like to kind of separate that date out, it's on a Thursday. It'll be fun. We appreciate your tremendous support. We appreciate Renton. Those poor folks who came here have no idea. Renton is the place to live, and the city of Renton is the very best city. We have a lot of discussion. We've had a lot of fireworks, but we all love Renton, and we all believe in it, and we work together to make it fantastic. There isn't a nicer place to live than Renton. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you for your help Saturday. I know you served probably 450 hamburgers.
That's good.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. And we have 11 items on the consent agenda for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have item F pulled.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we approve the consent agenda minus item F.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the consent agenda minus item F. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, so item F is, this is actually a program that the police department is working with the King County Sheriff's Office. And off-duty detectives actually are verifying the addresses of sex offenders. And then the King County Sheriff's Office reimburses the officers that are doing this work. So in order that if they can get their money, I'd like to go ahead and pass this at this point, and I'd like the council to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's actually a council concur item already.
It is.
Yeah, they were going to refer it to committee, but they've made it a council
Okay.
concur item.
I'd like to.
Put that back on.
So if it's
I'd like
okay.
the council to concur with it. Item F. How's
Okay.
that? As long as we get it passed.
So I guess you want to make
Add
a
it
motion
back.
to council concur with item F?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You did, do you have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve item F of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next is unfinished business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the committee of the whole has a committee report.
Okay, there's quite a few committee reports tonight. I'll try to go as fast as I can without messing it up completely. So the Committee of the Whole Committee Report is the Parks and Trails and Community Facilities Ballot Measure Citizens Advisory Committee Report. The Committee of the Whole recommends concurrence in the CAC recommendation to approve a funding package of $14.5 million. This will be used to fund $13 million in existing deferred major maintenance projects, together with a $1.5 million contingency and inflation fund. The funding of this will be covered through councilmanic bonds instead of through a ballot measure. The committee further recommends that an ordinance regarding this matter be prepared and presented. This committee report is signed by Council President Mr. Prince.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the council concur in the recommendation of the committee of the whole.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Committee of the Whole report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay.
No.
Two, okay, so we've got 2 noes and 4 yeses. Did you want, you want a roll call vote, or does it, or do you have?
No, that's not, but no.
You got it, okay. All right. So the committee report passes.
Yes.
I want to just say, I know we've said it before, but a very special thank you to the Community Advisory Group that worked really hard
Absolutely.
on trying to figure out the parks and recreation systems and things that the council asked them to do. They spent a lot of hours trying to understand exactly how our park system works and what the growth issues have been and the cost associated with expanding the needs of a growing population. And they came up with a couple of alternatives. One was obviously very expensive if you were to adopt all of the things that they felt the community ultimately will need. And as the council concluded after we did a citizen survey, this was just not the time to go out and talk to the residents about spending a lot of money. But the Community Advisory Committee highly recommended that the current facilities that we have are in dire need of repair and that we absolutely should continue to move forward to take care of them. So I appreciate you taking the time to look over the work that they did, and I again want to thank them for all the effort that they put into it. You can't get any more public or transparent than by having a system of that nature. So thank you.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Person.
Yes, the Finance Committee was at work again, but so have all the other committees.
Okay, the first Finance Committee report is regarding approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, total payment of $11,575,920.30 for vouchers 10085 through 10086, 80118, 80218, 81518, 82118, 367342 through 367343, 367355 through 368015, 368029 through 368285, payroll benefit withholding vouchers 5865 through 5884, and 367344 through 367354, 368016 through 368028, and 3 wire transfers. Payroll, total payment of $3,139,587.55 for payroll vouchers, which includes 1,608 direct deposits and 44 checks, July 16th through 30th and August 1st through 15th, 2018 pay periods. And Kidder Matthews, total payment of $33,268.14 for vouchers 5685 through 5702. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
we actually had a whole month's worth of vouchers, so we had 262 pages that we looked at, and some of the things we looked at is juror fees for the Renton Municipal Court of $1,348 that we paid out. And the most unusual one that I've never seen before was to McLennan's for a receipting tool, whatever that is, for 49 cents. And then we paid ServPro $9,813.80 to clean up 6 homeless encampments and clean out the stadium at Liberty Park. And then the other one that kind of stuck was at the airport. We paid $2,215.04 for light bulbs. Those are expensive when you're using for aviation. So with that, I move the council concur in the report, Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the second Finance Committee report is regarding new vendor for office mail metering services contract. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign a contract with Diamond Marketing Solutions Incorporated for postal metering and delivery services for a 3-year period with an annual cost of $98,551.20. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Person.
The metering service that they're talking about is at what it costs to have our mail sent out for the year. You know, it includes the utility bills, announcements, and the metering service helps because you're not paying the full 50 cents. You get the cheapest postage that you can get. And the nice part about this particular company is in the city of Renton. So with that, I move the council concur in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Witchy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Utilities Committee has 3 committee reports.
I believe that Mr. Person has some
I
committee
have a
reports.
Transportation
Board-
Committee.
Yeah.
Oh, he's filling in for Randy.
I'm filling in for Randy. I forgot about it.
So the first Transportation Aviation Committee report is regarding the 2019 through 2024 6-year Transportation Improvement Program. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to approve the annual updates to the 2019 through 2024 6-year Transportation Improvement Program. The committee further recommends that the resolution regarding this matter be presented for reading and adoption. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
I
Person.
move the council concur in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been
You
moved
mean
by,
transportation?
Transportation Committee, excuse me.
been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Transportation Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to utilities.
Okay, the Utilities Committee report is regarding Varma Ram Southeast 132nd Street Sewer Latecomers Agreement, final approval extension. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to grant Kushal Varma and Kala A. Ram final approval of a latecomer agreement for a period of 20 years for the purpose of recovering a portion of the cost of extending a sanitary sewer main along Southeast 132nd Street, adjacent to and west of 156th Avenue Northeast. The application for a latecomers agreement request was submitted by Kushal Varma and Kala A. Ram on May 4th, 2017, and the preliminary costs were approved by the City Council on June 5th, 2017. Construction of the project was completed in December of 2017. Staff has received as-built plans, reviewed the final costs, and received the final contractor's total cost of $188,408. The committee further recommends that the final assessment roll be forwarded to the city clerk, who will notify the affected property owner of the latecomer's potential assessment and the right to appeal, with council retaining the right to rule on the final decision. If no appeals have been submitted within 20 days of the date of mailing the assessment notice, the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute and record the latecomer agreement to finalize the matter. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Witchy.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Utilities Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Witchy, second by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Utilities Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The next committee, Utilities Committee report is regarding an agreement with Northwest Hydraulic Consultants for annual Cedar River sediment survey and analysis. The Utility Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to execute the agreement with Northwest Hydraulic Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $132,377 for the annual Cedar River sediment survey and analysis. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Witchy.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Utilities Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Witchy, second by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the Utilities Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Utilities Committee report is regarding water quality grant agreement with the Department of Ecology for Heather Downs Detention Pond Water Quality Retrofit Project. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to execute the water quality grant agreement with the Department of Ecology for the Heather Downs Detention Pond Water Quality Retrofit Project. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Witchy.
I move that council concur with the recommendation of the Utilities Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Witchy, second by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the Utilities Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, thank you. Mr. McGurven, you're next.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Planning and Development Committee has a couple of reports.
Okay, the first Planning and Development Committee report is regarding City Code Title IV, 2018 Docket Group Number 13. The Planning and Development Committee concurs with the staff recommendation, with the Staff and Planning Commission recommendation to adopt the 2018 Title IV Docket Group 13, Group A and Group B. The Planning and Development Committee further recommends that the ordinances for the items listed below be prepared and presented for first reading once they are completed. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. McGurven.
I move that the council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The final committee report from Planning and Development Committee is regarding a housekeeping ordinance update. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to repeal ordinance number 5882 and adopt a new ordinance regarding text amendment exceptions, incorporating corrections that have previously been omitted. The committee further recommends that the new ordinance be placed on the agenda for reading and adoption. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
this is just a quick fix to a previous ordinance adopted by council, and so I would like to move that we concur with the Planning and Development Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to legislation, we have two resolutions and one ordinance this evening.
Okay, the first resolution is a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, updating and extending Renton's 6-year transportation improvement program for 2019 through 2024.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move that the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Perez, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The second resolution is a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the temporary total closure of the intersection of East Valley Road and Southwest 19th Street between 1701 East Valley Road and 2501 East Valley Road to the north and south, and 200 Southwest 19th Street and 204 Southwest 19th Street to the east and west.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the ordinance for first reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, repealing ordinance number 5882, adding subsections 4-1-085 and 4-9-025.h to the Renton Municipal Code and amending subsection 4-9-025.g of the Renton Municipal Code, adding a review process for procedural and non-substantive text amendments to Title IV of the Renton Municipal Code, and amending the review process for administrative code interpretations of Title IV of the Renton Municipal Code, and providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. McIrvin.
I move that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McIrvin, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, Megan. Moving on to new business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the committee of the whole will meet next Monday, September 17th, at 5:30 PM in the council chambers. We have 3 items on the agenda: WashDOT I-405 update, regional issues, and King County Solid Waste Management Comprehensive Plan. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, for Mr. Corman, the Transportation Committee will meet in the council conference room next Monday, September 17th at 4 p.m. There's 5 topics: Duval Avenue Northeast Project, Water Quality Combined Financial Assistance Agreement, 2, the Renton Hangar Lease Addendum, 3, Operating Permit and Agreement with Seaplane Scenics, 4, Regional Transit Planning Discussion, and 5, Emerging Issues in Transportation. And Mr. Mayor, we passed the TIP tonight, but one of the issues on the Transportation Improvement Plan includes an item on opening up Hauser Way North, and that's been on, I think it's project number 17, and I think the time has come that it should be re-examined because it most likely may not be practical with what's going on down there now. So with that, I move that the Hauser Way Extension Program be referred to the Transportation Committee.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Perez, that the Hauser Way extension off of Lake Washington Boulevard, I believe, be referred to the Transportation Committee for review. Oh, any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I couldn't agree with you more.
It's one of those things that the council, Mr. Corman and I were on the Transportation Committee together when it seemed to be a good thing to do, but with things that are happening in that area, it just needs to be maybe not the best thing to even talk about anymore.
Exactly. Well, at least you need to know what transportation staff has planned for sequel development and all of the stuff taking place down there, so. Okay, thank you. Ms. Witchy.
Yes, the Utilities Committee will be meeting this Thursday, September 13th at 4 p.m. in the council conference room. We will be discussing water service to Ron Regis Park interlocal agreement and emerging issues in utilities, and that is all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McIrvin.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just needed to announce that the Planning and Development Committee, scheduled for Thursday, September 13th, has been canceled.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Community Service Committee will meet next Monday, September 17, at 5 in the council conference room. There are 2 items in the agenda. One is Communities in the School of Renton contract, and the second is Emerging Issues in Community Service. That will be it.
Thank you. Mr. Pavoni.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, what's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.